Hey everybody, it is day 27, and once again going back to Japan, and we are watching Kiyoshi Kurosawa's Cure. Now, I talked about this movie a little bit, and when I did the first movie, which was Pulse, and I definitely had a hard time finding this movie. Luckily, it's available on the internetarchive.org, and you can watch it for free there. It's definitely worth your time. It is definitely a long movie. And it's definitely as good as I remembered it, man. You have the perfect antagonist in this movie, and you've got a great lead in this movie. So you got Takabe and I think it's Miyama. I think. I'm terrible with names, especially when they come to foreign names. It's not like it's just like John or Bill or Joe or anything like that. No. It's stuff that fucked me up. And what is the basic story of this movie for those that have never seen this before? So you have a detective that's researching a bunch of cases that are going on, and basically there are people killing other people, and this is like more of a thriller than anything else. It's like a crime thriller of sorts, but it definitely has its like tension and psychological horror is like built into this movie, and so he's trying to figure out what connects all these cases together. And it happens to be our antagonist. And our antagonist is a guy that he has amnesia. I want to say something else, but that kind of gives away what's going on. And basically, well, I guess I have to do a small little bit of spoiler for this one because I really want to explain the story because it comes into like a cat and mouse type of game. So our main antagonist, he pretends that he has amnesia, but he really doesn't. And what he does is he uses hypnosis to open parts of the brain for these characters into doing what kind of like what they want to do and why they want to kill. But none of the people that kill in this movie remember even why they killed. Like in that moment, they're like perfectly calm and they just kill. And they leave an X on the neck. There's some really great gruesome scenes in this movie, especially with one with a lady inside a men's bathroom. And it's just excellent. And it's got one of my favorite, like, there's not a whole lot going on, but I remember the first time I saw it, it freaked me out. It freaked me out really bad. And it's still very powerful in this movie. And it's like the first time that Takabe and our antagonist, they're together and he's interrogating him, and then all of a sudden they're just sitting in a room and it starts raining and the room gets super dark, and then it focuses up, like looking up at him and looking at the ceiling, and you see the rainwater slowly but surely like black out the top above him, and then it starts dripping down. And it's such a well done scene because a lot of the things that you have our antagonist doing, he's trying to like basically he's trying to hypnotize him, right? And he can't, and he uses all these sounds and fire and water and all these things to accomplish what he wants and how he wants it. And it's absolutely amazing, like watching the way that it works and how the scenes works, and how he constantly asks the same questions over and over again, and nobody really understands him but Takabe. And it's great watching these two work together. And again, like I said, this is one of my favorite antagonists that I've seen out of this whole like watching these movies. And yeah, I know I've seen this before, but it's a movie that like I could probably spend a whole like 30 minutes just breaking down and going into the scenes that I really love in this movie, and how these characters just work so well together, and how Takabe's sanity slowly breaks down because he's taking care of his wife, who she's got a mental illness of her own inside of her head. And he separates his life, his detective work and his home life, and how that is affecting the way the story is going. So if you haven't seen this movie, I do implore you. This is like Let Me In, or Let the Right One In. I'm sorry. Well, both. You should definitely see both those movies. But this is like Let the Right One In. It's a movie that I think everybody needs to see at least once. And you can form your own opinions from there. But it's like, I hold this movie so dear to my heart. And I remember when I first saw this was at a time where you couldn't find like these movies, especially these Japanese movies, like anywhere, right? And Kiyoshi Kurosawa, which I didn't mention last time, before this he did Sweet Home, and Sweet Home is actually the basis of Resident Evil, right? And Sweet Home's an interesting movie too, but I think this is like his like pièce de résistance, right? Like this is, if you really want to pick a movie by Kiyoshi Kurosawa, you should pick Cure. Like if you're going through all the movies that he's done, you're like, oh, where do I start? Start with this one, because you'll realize how special of a director he is by watching this movie. And it may be a little bit slow, but it has enough of buildup of tension, and it has so many little shocking moments in it that it's totally worth your time, in my personal opinion. And like I said, when I first saw this movie, it was for a class, and my teacher, my professor, he managed to, he got a region-free DVD, and after a while, and this guy became one of my favorite professors that I had in college, and I did ask him, like, how did you get this? And he's like, I've got friends that are able to get me these things, and, but you should try eBay. That should be the way that you should go. And I was like, okay, I don't know why I would want to buy movies on eBay. And so I found it, and I found a region-free version, which either meant that it was being imported in from Japan, and a lot of times a lot of Japanese movies were region-free at the time, some of the DVDs that you would get, or it was burned, like somebody made it. But it still had like all the features and everything like that, and it was subtitled, which is great for me, especially not being able to speak Japanese. And so I have this, and I think I lent it out to somebody, to be honest, and I don't think they ever gave it back to me. But it's a movie that, like, I loved. I got right away. I got this in Pulse, because I love Pulse too, even though that would freak me out a lot more than this one freaked me out. But it's definitely something that nowadays you can find anywhere. Like I said, I found it at internetarchive.org. It's there. Just search for that and search for Cure, and you'll find it. And hopefully you'll thank me later with this. But it's well acted. The story is good. The mystery in some of the things are good. Yeah, it gets in that like area of Japanese cinema where it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to Westerners, like where the story is going and how the story is going. But please believe me that you have to see this movie. So this gets a solid 5 out of 5 lighters. It's just fun all the way through, still well acted, still, I go back to these movies that I haven't seen in quite some time, and it's like, oh, do I still have that same memory of them as I did way back in the day? And now watching this one, I most definitely do. I still love it as much as the first time that I saw it. And it still kind of freaks me out in the way, not the way that I first saw it, but definitely is something that's, it sticks with you after you see it. So we'll catch you tomorrow on day 28, 4 movies left, 28, 29, 30, 31, 4 movies left, because I can fucking count with my fingers. Or am I trying to hypnotize you? So we'll see you next time.